Hi everyone, Kenji here, your sculptor, and welcome back to Life of Clay for another sculpting video. And today I'll be sculpting a giant prehistoric millipede, none other than the Arthropleura. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet, and don't forget to turn on the bell icon to get notification whenever I upload a new video. And so without further ado, come bring the clay on and let's get started. And to begin with, I'm gonna use this aluminum sheet as a temporary support for our Arthropleura. First, I draw and cut individual plate out of paper with different sizes and shape. Then I draw a guideline on the aluminum sheet for the plate alignment. Then placing each plate over the sheet following the center line one at a time and outlining their shape all the way to the tail. And after that, I just cut out the sheet. Now I just twist it a little bit and fashion it into 4 body lifting position. Then I place a noodle of clay to the center and embed a piece of stainless steel wire and conceal it, and then cure it with heat gun. Then I add more clay and shape it out into a hump spine. Arthropleura means jointed ribs in Greek, is a genus of extinct millipede arthropods and was the largest terrestrial invertebrate to have ever lived, measuring between 0.3 to 2.6 meter, almost the size of a small car, and with a width of about 22 inches. Estimates of this arthropod's body mass might have been up to 110 pounds or 50 kilos and would have had few, if any, predators. Now I attach this block of wood underneath it using 2 parts epoxy to give it a handle so I can properly sculpt the entire dorsal. And we can now cover it with a thin sheet of clay. And I'm using Cosclay medium firm here, by the way. And I just press it gently and pass a roller over, squeezing all the trapped air out to prevent the clay from bulging out during baking. Removing the excess clay and shape out the notches along the edge. Then I lay a plastic film over it and add 2 grooves on its dorsal, separating the 3 columns. Then I just brush it with cornstarch to lessen the stickiness of the surface. And using this curved tip piece of plastic that I cut out from a juice bottle to add segment details. All found fossils of Arthropleura are believed to be exoviae or the molting shells, and evidence of 3 cm deep trackway fossils instead of a complete carcasses. However, experts mostly agree that Arthropleura look a lot like modern-day millipedes, and together, all these fossils suggest that they had a sturdy exoskeleton and room to land and live a forest-independent life. Initial interpretations suggested that Arthropleura was a carnivore. Later studies showed that this is unlikely. An organism with strong mouthparts for chewing or crushing prey would have preserved some or all of those parts in fossilized remains. This and other factors led to the conclusion that this giant arthropod was most likely herbivorous. If we interpret the Arthropleura's diet to be similar to that of the present-day millipede, it would have lived on foliage, spores, and seeds. Compared to its present-day relative, Arthropleura's tergite was divided into 3 segments, including 1 center plate and 2 marginal or side plates, instead of a single continuous narrow body. And the underside of their body had several pairs of legs and head that tucked underneath the first armor plate, and also had non-filamentous antennae. Then using another tool that I also made to roughen the surface of each plate. And then I add irregular tiny warts on them using this piece of clay that I frequently shaping its tip pointy, sticking and cutting a small piece of it on the surface of each plate using this narrow tip tool. Arthropleura rose and went extinct during the Carboniferous period around 345 to 290 million years ago in what is now North America and Europe. Its extinction is typically linked to significant climatic changes that occurred during the Permian. Then cover it with plastic film and smooth out each wart using this tiny fish eye tip tool that I also made. And there are also similar animals to the Arthropleura, including Meganeura, the giant dragonfly, trilobites, and Myocercus, a species of a prehistoric spider. And after several years, there it goes. Now I brush them with alcohol to smooth them out even more. And now it's ready for baking. Oven temperature is 135 degrees Celsius. Baking time 30 minutes. And now the baking is done. I am now removing this block of wood and pry the cured clay out of its aluminum sheet. And it's separate easily. My plan is to position its forebody slightly lifted up, but apparently it's teetering a bit and I have to fix it. And with the help of my mini grinder, I'm gonna remove some of the clay underneath its forebody and at the same time concaving the underside of each marginal plate. Then I stick a piece of aluminum filler to the gouge area. Loosely crumpled tin foil is lighter than the clay, so I hope it'll do the job. And we can now start sculpting the ventral side of its lower body by adding a thick log of clay, shape it out, blending it in using this ball tip tool. Now brushing it with cornstarch and adding the ventral plates using this piece of plastic that I also shape out. Then using the same technique, covering it with plastic film and add more jointed plate details. Now using this small ball tip tool to add the legs sockets. And I add more lines on the rounded center plates. And we can now cure it using heat gun. Now let's resume sculpting the ventral of its upper section. And same procedure applies. Moving on, let us now sculpt its head. First, I apply liquid polymer clay on the neck and attach this oval-shaped piece of clay. Blend it in and shape it out, and then adding all its plate details. I'm not too technical about the details of this model since there is no complete fossilized carcass found, so all I'm doing here on its ventral side including its head are based only in my imagination, and I just enjoy the process and see how will it turn out. Then I add some warts on the plate of its head and add the bases of its antennae and add poke holes on them. And after that, I just put it in the oven for the final curing. Next, let's make its legs using this 0.8mm stainless steel wire that I slightly bent. Adding a small piece of clay on the middle and shape it out into a conical shape. Then I add segment details and add pair of inward spines on both sides of each segment. And then cure them with heat gun. Maybe you're wondering why this leg has its excess wire. It's because I will be molding this leg and the excess wire from the tip of this leg will be for the pouring hole and the other end will be for the vent. And I made different sizes of its legs. I just stick them into this foam pad to keep them in place. And using my 1:1 liquid silicone and pour it in this plastic box. Then I just slowly immerse the legs to avoid dragging down some bubbles until they are fully submerged. And now the mold is ready and time to unmold them. Then using resin tinted with black ink and pour into the hole until the resin oozes out of the vent hole. Then set them aside to cure. Now they are ready, let us now unmold them and trim off the excess resin. I also made another mold to double time the production, and this too is successful. Now let's make the antennae using this 0.3mm stainless steel wire. Cover it with a very thin strip of clay and shape it out, adding segment details on it and cure it with heat gun. And now all the parts are ready, let us now assemble it. And in assembling, I use cyanoacrylate glue in attaching each limb. And I add the legs in order according to their sizes, starting from the forebody, which has the shorter legs, moving to medium to longer legs of the middle section of its body, and then moving towards its rear end, which sizes descends. And finally adding its antennae. And is now ready for painting, and first I'm gonna prime it with gray gesso. Next I paint it with raw sienna for the base color. Then I paint the edge of its dorsal plates with bass yellow. Then I add bright red next to yellow. Then adding black next to red. I am trying to create a soft transition between these three colors here, and so far I love their combination. Then moving on its underside, I paint the side plates with wash of bass yellow. And then painting the third part of the tip of each leg with bright red. Then painting some of its mouth parts, ocelli or its simple eyes, and the tip of its legs with black. Then I paint the inner ventral plates with copper mica powder to add metallic sheen to its belly. And now the painting is done, we can now seal it with gloss water-based varnish. And there it is, our Arthropleura is finally done. I hope you like it even though it is lengthy and laborious process video. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up, leave your comments about it, and share this video with your friends. I'll be making something interesting in the next episode, so stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. And your subscription, guys, will help me to reach my channel's goal and definitely will support me to continue producing videos like this one in the future. And also don't forget to turn on the notification bell icon so you won't miss out any of our exciting future videos. You can also follow me in my other social media accounts, and their links are listed in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate your support, guys. See you again next time and have a wonderful day and evening, everyone. Bye!